with promises of change and integrity. He painted himself as the leader who would clean up politics and restore trust in government. However, his leadership is now under fire.
Keir Starmer seems to be moving from one scandal to the next just when he thinks things are finally under control. In an unexpected twist of events, a leaked audio has thrown the Prime Minister's camp into a bit of confusion as they battle to save the reputation of Starmer. The issue with the latest scandal is that it has sent significant shockwaves across the media as it could completely change the way politics is viewed in the United Kingdom. But what is the shocking revelation that came from this audio? You have to watch this video till the end to learn about this huge storm that can shape the entire UK.
Tying ourselves closer to the EU is going to basically defeat the point of leaving.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves in terms of what if any better deal might have within it. But look, I'm aware and alive to the fact that we've got trade deals around the world, and of course we want to make the most of those. And absolutely make sure that we not just keep the existing trade deals we've got, but of course get additional trade deals on top of that as well. So we've got to get the balance right here. But we do need to ensure that we're able to grow our economy, that people feel better off, and they will. I mean, anybody trading with Europe will probably say, look, we need just to be able to trade more easily. There are wider issues of security and defence where I think it's common knowledge that we can have a better.
But you're willing to put stuff on the table to get that security deal.
We've got to work with.
Keir Starmer promised to take UK politics in a new direction, albeit a positive one. To support this claim, he proposed several policies. However, these policies have not had the desired effect. Frankly, it has almost taken the opposite direction from what Starmer expected. But that is not the biggest issue the PM is contending with right now. Starmer is now in danger of even becoming a laughingstock in international politics. Yeah, the PM is involved in a bigger political turmoil than ever after his latest meeting with world leaders.
No. We have to make the case for freedom of movement. We don't want open borders. Freedom of movement has gone and it's not coming back.
Cutting off power, cutting off water, secure?
Well, I think that Israel does have that right. I was not saying that Israel had the right to cut off water, food, fuel or medicine. Wounded by the media, the Sun in this city, are hurt for this city. And I certainly won't be giving any interviews to the Sun during the course of this campaign.
Did you write an article for some newspaper the other day? Surely that's not going to gain you any support across the Northwest.
Would you write for them again, Sir Keir?
I would do, yeah.
Can you guarantee that under your leadership, the 2019 Labour commitments to nationalise water, energy, rail, the Royal Mail.
Now, the United Kingdom has a reputation as one of the most powerful nations in the world. So you would expect the head of its government to command more admiration and respect from his contemporaries at every gathering. It doesn't even matter if he is there or not, as respect and admiration shouldn't be limited to only in one's presence. However, that is not the case with Starmer at the moment. What happened in this meeting has shocked the UK media, and some political analysts are scratching their heads to come up with an explanation. But how bad was this incident? Well, we can't tell you what to think. We can only inform you about the latest in UK politics. It all began from a leaked audio through a hotline. The audio exposed a secret so dark that it has the potential to ignite a storm that can end Starmer's short career as Prime Minister.
And you've raised taxes in a way that no one was expecting, or voters.
I came into politics relatively late in life, having done other things. I came in with one purpose only, and that is to change lives for the better. We made key choices yesterday in relation to the future of our country.
But choices that weren't in your manifesto. There was no suggestion of £40 billion of tax rises in that manifesto, Prime Minister.
We inherited a very badly damaged economy. We audited the books and found £22 billion missing. We've had to do the responsible thing, which is to stabilise the economy, to make sure we're putting the investment in for the future. That's what matters to me. And the outcomes are what matters. 40,000 extra appointments each and every week to bring the waiting list down. Making sure we've got the right teachers and the right numbers in our schools so every child can go as far as their talents will take them.
This file exposed a deep dissatisfaction among the leaders of the G7 countries towards Keir Starmer. The blunt remarks towards the PM are as shocking as it is intriguing. In the meeting, Starmer hoped to achieve one of two things, or both. First, he planned to push for more support in favour of Ukraine against Russia. Second, he planned to discuss the political situation in Syria. However, he wasn't prepared for the turnout. The best way to describe the actions of other world leaders was indifference, especially when he spoke about Ukraine. The meeting quickly became a political disaster with the potential to become a huge scandal for the Labour leader. It was clear that the other leaders were not impressed by his presence or his suggestions. It was not only a blow to Starmer, but the UK too, as it damaged its position in international politics.
Against the backdrop of these dangerous times, the idea that we must choose between our allies, that somehow we're with either America or Europe, is plain wrong. I reject it utterly. Attlee did not choose between allies. Churchill did not choose.
As he continued to speak, you could sense the atmosphere shift. Biden's poise indicated he was unimpressed. Macron's smile appeared forced and lacking genuine appreciation. Consequently, his suggestions gained no traction as leaders exchanged knowing glances as if they were all thinking the same thing at that moment. The scene showed that clear disinterest and was followed by awkward silence. Perhaps the biggest indication that Starmer had completely fallen off the cliff was President Joe Biden checking his watch very often as Starmer spoke.
From Russia and 1,000 days of sacrifice from Ukraine. So that is my clear message here. It's number one on my agenda. Obviously, I'm not going to get into operational details because the only winner, if we were to do that, is Putin, and I'm not prepared to do that.
Can you at least in principle say whether you'd like them to be green-lighted? Because I think you would.
I'm not going to get into operational details because Putin is the only winner in that situation. But I've been really clear for a long time now, we need to double down. We need to make sure Ukraine has what is necessary for as long as necessary, because we cannot allow Putin to win this war.
OK, well, let me quickly ask you about Russia. Have you spoken to Lavrov? President Putin's spokesperson has said the missile decision was adding fuel to the fire. Trump allies say the Biden missile decision could trigger World War III.
Overall, it was evident that Starmer was not getting the response he wanted, and soon his confidence faded as his voice trembled. However, he pressed on with his ideas about Syria, completed with charts, data, and every other information he could find. Despite his best efforts, Starmer only received skepticism and pitiful glances. When he was done, the room remained silent. After a short pause, Joe Biden spoke and asked the meeting to proceed to the next agenda, completely ignoring Starmer's presentation. From his reaction, it was clear that Starmer's ideal was ignored, and his supporters are feeling the pressure of his continued failures.
Ceasefire in Gaza, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, immediate access for humanitarian aid, and a return to the path towards the two-state solution as the only way to deliver long-term peace and security. The dire humanitarian situation cannot continue. And I say once again to Israel, the world will not tolerate any more excuses on humanitarian assistance. Civilians in northern Gaza need food now. The UK strongly supports UNRWA in the vital work it does in Gaza, across the OPTs and the region.
But it gets even worse for Starmer. You see, when he spoke about Russia and shared his stands on the nation, he received even more displeased looks. As he began, the atmosphere in the room became worse, almost becoming hostile. There were clear reactions from President Biden, Macron, and German Chancellor Scholz. In addition, their body language indicated they wanted to be anywhere, but not in the same room with Starmer. While Starmer was confident in his stance on Russia, he wanted more sanctions on the East European nation, alongside more military support for Ukraine. However, he clearly misread the room, as Biden looked even more disinterested, while Macron raised an eyebrow and Scholz signed. It was a clear indication that Starmer misread the room. So the situation showed that the PM's ideas don't align with the rest of the G7, a vivid misunderstanding that the Labour leader is not in tune with global politics. In a surprise turn of events, one of the leaders asked him how feasible his ideas were, which prompted silence in the room. Shockingly, Starmer couldn't give a definitive answer to the question, prompting more dissatisfaction from the rest of the leaders in the room. The aftermath of the incident not only embarrassed the British government, it angered the citizens too. Those hoping for a tougher stand on Russia felt disappointed. Skeptics are also questioning Starmer's judgment and understanding of international politics and where it is headed. But that is not all Starmer is contending with at the moment. A new storm has emerged after he was accused of being a freebie politician by Piers Morgan.
But they are obviously inheriting one of the great hospital passes any government's ever had to inherit. We know from the polls they're very unpopular as a government, as a party. And I had a weird moment. I flew to California at the start of August, spent a month away.
Morgan, who is not new to scandals, was not impressed with the constant donations the Labour leader accepts from the public. The former Mirror editor and GMP host was speaking at a time when the PM and senior Labour ministers are under the microscope over their acceptance of donations, including clothes and football jerseys from different people. He described it as beggar's belief. He criticised Starmer's hypocrisy and halo-clad moralising about greedy Tories, Conservatives, filling their troughs with gifted clobber. He went on to point fingers at Starmer and most of his cabinet and how they are hoovering up everything from designer clothes to Taylor Swift tickets and getting Lord Waheed Santa Claus Alley to pay for seemingly everything, including their lavish birthday parties. He warned, if Labour top brass keep behaving like two-faced charlatans over freebies, the public will give them their 45s very quickly.
Clive Lewis gave him 6 out of 10. Come on, you've been around long enough to rank Jeremy Corbyn's leadership. You sat alongside him. What do you think he scores?
I'm not going to rank Jeremy Corbyn. He's a colleague, he's a friend, and he's led us through some really difficult times in the Labour Party. And I don't want to trivialise that by giving him a number out of 10. I respect him and thank him for what he's done, but I'm not going to get involved in that.
No, he hasn't got time to nip down to Marks and Spencer and get himself some new
I do accept that.
Okay.
I found that when I was.
I bet somebody come in and said, look, if you've obviously not got time to be wandering around Oxford Street at Marks and Spencer's, why don't I sort it out for you?
Yeah, but he could.
Barnlandswell Press, 9/15. Apparently his comments didn't go unnoticed by the Labour leader, who quickly came out to defend his actions. Well, it was members of his cabinet who reacted, saying the PM didn't have time to do his own shopping and accepted the donations because of that reason. If you think that was bad, wait for the fallout of these donations. Lord Waheed Ali, one of Labour's biggest donors, found himself at the centre of a political row over the acceptance of gifts and hospitality by senior MPs in the party. In a series of controversies to rock Sir Keir Starmer's government, he was given a Downing Street pass after donating more than £700,000 to the party in the past 2 decades. His gifts included eyewear and work clothing, worth £18,000 for the PM, clothes for his wife, Lady Victoria Starmer, and a £10,000 donation to the PM's Chief of Staff, Sue Gray's son, Liam Conlon's campaign to become a Labour MP. Now, Lord Ali faces an investigation over his alleged failure to register his interests as a director of charity, the Charlie Parsons Foundation, and the company Silvergate BP Bidco, of which he owns more than half. He is also investigated for his late registration of his interest as an unpaid director of another company, MAC BVI. The situation has raised concerns over the moral high ground that Starmer often spoke about when pointing fingers at the Conservatives. Do you think this leaked audio will affect Keir Starmer's political future and the reputation of Britain in international politics? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.